one of the calls that you never want to miss. We did miss you dearly last week, but you were with one of the grandbabies, and that was awesome, Miss Lynn. But, guys, without any further ado, I just want to introduce Miss Lynn Gardner. Good morning, Lynn. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Wade. Good morning, Sam. I'm doing great. It's good to be with you guys again today, and I want to thank you for your understanding last week and, when I couldn't be with you. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that might be the only call I've missed since I joined you, and I take it very seriously, so I'm really very grateful that you squeezed me in today. Thanks for having me. I traveled to Pittsburgh to watch 3-year-old granddaughter. We were both a little under the weather, and although I could have managed to do the call myself, you just never know if a 3-year-old is going to cooperate, right? But, for me, it's always God first, family, and then business. So you guys got overridden last week, and when a family need came about. So here I am today with bells on. It's a beautiful morning in Virginia, I can tell you that. We also have snow on the ground, Wade, and we got about a foot of snow, I think, and the views are breathtaking from the farm. You just can't even imagine as the sun comes up. Wade knows what I'm talking about. It's glistening on the snow. It's beautiful. But hopefully, as we take on this new year, you guys have already established your goals, and hopefully you've already formalized those goals with a plan to get you there. Most of us don't arrive at any destination without a roadmap to get there, and nothing could be more true for our business. So knowing where you want to go doesn't mean a whole lot without a plan to get there. Without it, we merely have a wish list. And although wishing and dreaming is an integral part of the process in building your own business especially, it's not enough. And so there always needs to be a plan of action behind your dream. The dreams that keep you motivated, the plan that keeps you on track. And when you add those two things together, you'll find your success, guaranteed. You all must know by now, since I've walked this journey with you through a few holiday seasons, that I spend a lot of time planning my new year and setting my goals for the year in that week between Christmas and New Year's. I'm not still wallowing in the holidays. Once we get through the holidays, I'm back to work. I roll my sleeves up, and the first thing on my agenda is that I'm honest with myself about the year I'm just closing out. What did I do what I said I was going to do? Did I accomplish what I set out to accomplish? You never get anywhere unless you can really be honest with yourself, right? I look to the future, considering the past, and I have specific goals in mind, and then I set my action plan in place down to the smallest of details. I'm really super excited about this year. I have a great plan. I have a big dream, and I hit the ground running shortly after that ball dropped in Times Square. But unfortunately, some of you haven't gotten, into the new year yet. In fact, unfortunately, some of you might still be struggling come springtime. But when you have a plan and you have goals in place, you never have to worry about a slow start. It's like going back to work after being on vacation. So if you don't have a plan, it's never too late to get one. Settle down, look at your future, look at your goals, and set one. As for me and my plan, I am so super excited. I'm working inside my gifts more and more every day. I'll be writing a few more ebooks, just so you know, this year. Of course, I kicked off with Walking on Water. That was the first one, for me. And God is first in my life. So that definitely is the journey that I wanted to start out with. So that book, if you don't know, is a very small testimony of a very small piece of my life journey. And God is using it. It's overwhelming. I've heard from a number of people that can relate to my journey. And they're blessed by the outcome. They're inspired by my faith. They see hope. Some that have old wounds that needed to be healed, and maybe they never looked at it that way until they read Walking on Water. It's an honor to be part of the healing process, amen? Then I rolled out Toilets, Taps, and Trash. What a label, right? And I held off on it just a little bit longer than, I said I would, but it finally went out, and it quickly became a #1 release on Amazon, and it hit #1 on Amazon. Wow. And that's thanks to you and all your support. So I'll be continuing to spread that news of health and environmental issues is a big part of my plan. And here and there you'll see books that will spring up, books that I hope will be tools for you. I know they'll be tools for me, that we can use in our journey to educate our world about health. Books lead to speaking engagement sometimes, so I'm working on being booked into some pretty impressive venues. A piece of my past is coming back to life, right? I'm working inside those gifts. Public speaker beyond our magic world. I serve this world, and now I'm stepping out to serve a bigger circle, right? But the speaking will help my journey by setting myself up as an expert in our world. I'm also launching a movement, for lack of a better description. I'm calling it Living Larger. It's really a training platform, if you will, for people of faith in the workplace. And I'll be assisting business people everywhere in finding their way and blending their life the way God intends for all of us to do. We'll be identifying their God-given gifts and their purpose, and they'll begin living a life that's larger than life because of it in every way, in and out of our business. It's so exciting. But, we all come to our success in different ways. Your plan doesn't look like my plan. My plan doesn't look like yours. Our journeys won't be the same. And there isn't necessarily a wrong way or a right way. We put together our talents and our gifts, and we move ahead in the way that works best for us. But there is a common denominator for all of us, no matter how you approach your business. And of all the things that I'll be doing this year to build my business, my brand, and my income, the greatest of all in every area of my life will be recruiting other people for the journey. I'll be fishing for the right people for my business and fishing for the ready people for my faith. So the message for you today is entitled Fishers of Men and Women. No doubt many of you on the call are familiar with the story of fishers of men, from the Bible. Jesus pulled a number of his power team that had fishing careers, and he pulled them out of that. And he said, I'm going to make you fishers of men. He was the master recruiter, and he taught them how to be one too. It's that fishing part that is the most significant message of Christ, and it's our most significant role in our job description and service to Him. It's also the most significant thing you'll do to be successful. Maybe you never thought about it that way, but fishing for men and women applies to every single area of your life. With a different message, of course, a different priority, a different spin. It makes no difference. Learning to be a fisher of men and women is the key to a fulfilling a life and to our success. From our relationships, perhaps you're looking for someone in your life. You're hoping God brings you a significant other. You need to be fishing for men. You need to be out there attracting people into your world. To our children, we fish for the right influencers for their lives until they're grown and they find their own. And to our faith, of course, that's an ongoing process, or it better be for believers to be out there fishing for men, and certainly to our business. God ordains our steps, but we're required to keep stepping. And every step of the way should be with a focus on fishing for the right ones. I personally love to fish. Maybe some of you know that about me. Maybe some of you don't. I certainly don't get to do as much of it as I've done in my past, but I love it. From deep sea fishing to surf fishing to fishing on a pond, I love it. I think fishing is one of those things that people either really, really love or they really, really hate. Some of you probably been dragged out fishing and it was the worst day of your life. But those of us that love fishing, we love it. Some people think fishing is boring, but it's not boring to those of us that love to do it. Fishing does require patience that most people don't have. And you don't always get results when you go out. But fishing has some powerful lessons for all of us, whether you really fish or not, right? And we need to focus on fishing in recruiting in every area of life. So I'm going to break it down for you today to show you what you learn from fishing and what it takes to become a master fisher of men and women. So we're not chasing rabbits, we're chasing a fish. And I may never find you with a fishing pole in your hand, but I'm pretty sure I'll find you learning to fish for men and women in the end. So number one on the list is when you set out to go fishing, you need to have some idea what you want to catch. Your geography, your vessel, your strategy, your tools, your bait, it all comes down to what you're hoping to catch. So if you're attempting to recruit business people for your business, then the first thing you need to do is have an idea of what that looks like. Write up a profile of the ideal fish. What kind of fish are you looking for? For instance, you might be looking for people that have experience in our world, in the network marketing business, right? You'll be definitely looking for open-minded people, people with an interest in health or green, passionate people, excited people, influential people, people with a list, people with dreams. Write it down. Remember, your geography, your vessel, your strategy, your tools, and your bait will all come down to the type of fish that you're trying to catch. Jesus set out to look for people that were likely recruits. He knew what he was fishing for. And he didn't just hang out with the fish he'd already caught. He went out, he fished for the lost, the lonely, the sick, the burdened. He knew who needed him. But have you ever noticed that when he fished for his power team, they were none of those things? Now, naturally, they had some growth to do, and I'm sure they had flaws. Jesus was working on their character, but he didn't leave. They weren't the lost, the lonely, the sick, and the burdened. He fished for a whole different kind of fish. Jesus looked for character. teachable fishermen, and others, people in different trades, of course, but, some of them were fishermen. They were teachable, and he knew that he could transform them into being fishers of men. When you look to add to your team, do you have any idea of what kind of fish you're looking for? If you do, it keeps you laser focused every step of the way. You've got a profile in your mind. You've got an idea of a mind. You know what kind of fish you're looking for. And it helps you stop thinking about fishing like some sort of scrimmage game in the grocery store, looking for unsuspecting people to tackle, right? It gives you a focused approach to recruiting. You're in business. You need a focused approach. Number 2 is once you identify what you're hoping to catch, then you need to go where they are. You can hang out on a lake for the rest of your life, but you're never going to catch a swordfish on a lake, and you won't catch a catfish in the sea. You have to make the effort to go where you're likely to find the fish. Naturally, we get surprises in our business sometimes, and we meet a good candidate, a prospect, under the most unsuspecting circumstances. Those are nice surprises, God surprises for sure. And that's the very reason, by the way, we need to be sure to let people know that we're in business and that we're fishing everywhere we go. But there is a whole lot more logic and strategy to fishing than that. What you hope to catch navigates your entire environment. So what kind of fish are you looking for? Where would they likely be hanging out? Once in a while, fish will flop inside a boat. It's kind of scary when it happens, right? It does happen once in a while. They'll come inside the boat. But most of the time, you got to go out and fish. We have the most amazing product. All of us agree with that. I won't live without my product ever, okay? And we have the most amazing people. I fell so in love with this business, first for the product and then for the people. And I love to be around the people in our business, people of character and integrity, a lot of people of faith. Hanging out with them, is a very good thing. I love it. How I believe in events, how I support calls. I'm not taking away from that. But hanging out with people that fish that have already been caught doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it, if that's all you're doing? If you're only hanging out with like-minded people already in our business, it doesn't work in your faith. You can't just stay inside the walls of the church and never go out and fish. We're told to be fishers of men. So we've got to get outside that circle a little bit, get outside of our comfort zone a little bit, and go hang out where those fish are, not just hanging out with fish already caught. So go where they are. Be fishers of men and women. Number 3, you need to have the right tools to catch the kind of fish you're fishing for. The right, maybe rod and reel, tools to equip you for success. You can't take a lightweight rod or a bamboo pole and go on a deep sea fishing excursion. It's not going to work. Although something's likely going to eat your bait, right, and move on, you won't have the bait that it takes to reel them in. Since we're fishing for men and women, we need to have the right tools to reel them in too. Perhaps it's a show, a powerful demonstration that you have. Perhaps it's a talk that you do on a group. Perhaps it's bringing them onto one of these calls. Perhaps it's sharing water or sharing some impressive tools that we have for our business. You need to have the right equipment to catch the kind of fish you're hoping to catch. So, once you have that list of the characteristics basically that you're looking for, you adapt your tools to that list. You don't want to go out with the wrong tools for the wrong fish, right? When you fish for fish, you adapt the equipment, the strategy to fit their environment. You don't assume that they're going to adapt to yours. You go where they are and you do your best to fit their environment. When Jesus went fishing, he applied compassion, but he also met them where they were in life. He went to weddings and parties and he drank wine with them. In fact, one time he was accused of being a drunkard, not because he was necessarily drunk, but because he was hanging out with these people to get to know them. He used the right equipment for the fish he was attempting to catch. That's for sure. So consider your equipment. What are you offering up to that fish that you're trying to catch? Number 4, don't forget the lure. The purpose of a lure, in case you don't know, it uses movement or vibrations and color to attract fish, and it induces them to bite that hook. Sorry, folks, but you need to understand that you do lure people into your belief system. When it comes to faith, we make sure to describe our Savior in ways that hopefully makes other people want to know him too. When it comes to your business, you need to do the same thing. There are probably a few people on this line that are known for saying, I don't care what people think about me. I'm not trying to impress anybody. Let me tell you something. You better be trying to impress them. Genuinely, of course. How will you ever lure people into your belief system unless they're impressed with you and what you have? How will you draw them in? You can bet when I'm fishing for men and women in my faith, I'm praying that I impress them. I try to impress them with my heart, with my peace, with my conviction, with the truth. I share it all with joy, and I live out my faith with gentleness. And you better believe I impress them. And you know what? I lure a lot of them in. That's my job description, right? So you can't forget the lure. If you're a fisher of men and women, whether for your personal life, your spiritual life, or your business, you need to talk the talk, but you also need to walk the walk. You know, guys, in terms of our business, it's something that gets me worked up is we're so set on trying to teach people, you know, the importance of hydration and about our products and all that stuff. You know, we'll do an exorcism over a Diet Coke. But, you know, then we walk around and we, you know, eat cookies on every corner, sugar that feeds cancer or processed foods or whatever. You know, you can't just talk the talk. You got to walk the walk. The need for the lure is one of the main ingredients to self-improvement. You know, you've got to walk the walk. You got to be who you say you are, and you got to do what you say people should do. Unless you're moving and colorful or passionate about what you do, whether it's your faith or your business, you won't lure anybody into anything. Remember, you're the lure. Walk like it, talk like it, dress like it, live like it. Be a reflection of the fish you're trying to catch. Number 5 is hang the gone fishing sign. Boy, I tell you what, you know, you're talking about the news, watching the news, and it's kind of funny. You know, people think I live in the Stone Age, I think, but I cut cable a while ago, and it was because I realized that I was tuning into news, and it was ruining my day. You know, it just gave me a heavy heart. So, but you got to learn when you're in business to hang that gone fishing sign. You need to have time and boundaries. You're in business. You know, stop getting distracted by the latest news story or whatever distraction you're likely to follow. You know, walking through the house and news is on, you sit down, get another cup of coffee, whatever that is. You can't go to a park and hope to catch a fish. Look at your life, your schedule, your distractions. You're in fishing business. Does it look like it? You know, when I was raising my kids, I could have worked from home for a big part of that journey, but I knew that if I was at home, the kids would be, you know. So I went to an office. When they got older and I started working from home, you can believe I set boundaries. And now remember, it's God, family, then business, right? So unless somebody was bleeding, they knew to let me go about my business. You got to hang up your gone fishing sign. You can't just drop everything every time something wiggles. You've got to stay focused and take your fishing seriously. And unless you do, your family won't. So I hear it all the time. My husband doesn't support me. My wife doesn't support me. Well, maybe you're not acting like you're in business. Put that gone fishing sign up and get busy. Don't go out, you know, fishermen don't go out on a lake, believe me, and sit there on a cell phone. You know, we go out to fish and we stay focused. So take your business seriously and hang that gone fishing sign up and teach your world to respect it. Number 6 is be patient. You know, those of us who love fishing, we don't lose our passion for fishing when we come home empty-handed. It doesn't work that way. Instead, we have high hopes. So the next time we're going to go out and catch that big one. You know, the disciples, you know, we read about how they came home with empty nets. You know, here they are with nets, no modern equipment, right? And out of nowhere, Jesus said, wait a minute, put your net on the other side. And they had so many fish they couldn't even contain them. You know, to a fisherman, not catching a fish may be disappointing, but it's not considered failure. So why is it that when we go out fishing, we're fishers of men and women, right? We go out fishing and we consider it failure if we come home empty-handed. You know, did you know what kind of fish you were hoping to catch that day? Did you go where they are, or did you just go out, you know, without a thought in the world of what you were hoping to catch? I think most people, you know, out there unfortunately walk around. They got a fishing rod in the trunk of their car, but they hesitate to get it out and share it with somebody else. How are people going to know you're fishing unless you tell them you're fishing and you share with them what kind of fish you're looking for? But be patient and keep fishing. You know, again, fishermen don't consider it failure when they come home empty-handed. They just go out again. Number 7 is tell your big fish stories. Man, when you tell stories, you know, facts tell, stories sell, right? When you tell a story about a big fish catch, you tell a fisherman where you caught it, they flock out there. You know, you inspire other fishermen to visit that same location or to follow your lead. What kind of bait did you use? What kind of equipment did you use? You know, you tell the big fish stories. Big fish stories get the juices flowing, and they inspire other people to love the game. Now, maybe you're just starting out in the business. Maybe you haven't seen success yet. That's okay. You can tell big fish stories about all the other people who already have. You can inspire people toward your dream just by showing them, and telling them big fish stories out there. Maybe you are big fish. When you go out there, you talk about how far you've come, how little you had before you got here. Tell your big fish stories. Unless you tell stories, you can't catch that fish. Number 8 is beware of the spear. Few people actually go out spear fishing, but everybody that goes deep sea fishing understands the value of a spear. If you're having a good day, you might need a spear to help bring the really big fish in. But the spear is used in conjunction with the line, and it's not intended to bludgeon the fish to death. It's intended to help bring them in, right? Sometimes you need a spear in your business so that you can reel in a big fish too, but use it sparingly or you'll end up bludgeoning instead of reeling that person in. When Jesus recruited fishermen to be fishers of men, he taught them how to fish for men. He taught them by example. You won't read anywhere where they pounced on people and made threats and, showed anger and judgment and all that kind of stuff, consequences for not listening. But is that what you're doing? Are you scaring the life out of people? Tell them you'll be sorry the rest of your life, you're going to die. Are you doing that? Or are you approaching our business with the compassion that we like to talk about? Jesus taught them how to live among the fish they wanted to catch. He taught them how to be kind and compassionate. He taught them the importance of that lure in their behavior and their words. He ate, drank, and he was married with them. He didn't spend his time just hanging out with the fish he'd already caught. He moved forward every day, fishing for men and women, living his life, showing them what he had and who he is. You won't find fishers of men, again, ranting and raving on a street corner and acting like lunatics. You'll find them living life with you. That's the way a believer approaches their faith. We live with gentleness and compassion. Jesus met the needs of the people he was fishing for. He didn't use a spear to bludgeon them into following him, and you shouldn't either. You need to face facts, really, that, to succeed, you have to understand that you need to be a fisher of men and women, that some people will get it and some people will jump right into that boat, while others, no matter what you do or what you say or who you three-way with, nothing will get their attention. There isn't a spear big enough to get those fish in the boat. But just like Jesus, you don't give up on the ones you're fishing for. I might not ever find you in a boat with a rod and reel in your hand, but I hope to see you develop your skills to be a fisher of men and women. And remember, number 1 is knowing what you're fishing for and define it. Number 2 is know where those fish are and go there. Number 3 is use the right tools to catch the kind of fish you want to catch. Number 4, don't forget the lure, the beauty that attracts. Number 5, hang up your gone fishing sign and focus. Number 6 is be patient. When you don't catch it, doesn't mean you lost. Number 7, tell your big fish stories. And number 8, beware of that spear. Exercise kindness and compassion. And you know what? Before you know it, you'll become a master fisherman too. And that's it for me, Wade.
Man, Lynn, what a wonderful tie-in to the word today. I love this, and man, that was one of the things that was spoken over me as I was when I first came to the Lord, is that I would be a fisher of men. And thank you, Miss Lynn. So this is really heart-touching. I love this, and guys, I'll tell you what. I mean, if you guys, this type of call, Lynn. I love you, honey. I just want you to know that.
I love you too. Thank you.
I always have to go back and just re-listen to yours because there's so much good inside of your messages. There's so much in there, and so I just want you to know how much I appreciate you, and I know that each and every difference maker does. Guys, if you want to raise your hand, we got about 20 minutes. We can talk to Miss Lynn. Hit *2. Take yourself off speaker. Take yourself off mute so we can hear you. And our first person up is Miss Jenny. Good morning, Jenny.
Good morning. Oh, it's always such a highlight every month to hear you, Lynn, and I'm so grateful.
Thank you.
What a great topic you bring to us today. Great example that we could go out and use. And I just want to tell anybody on the call that has not read Lynn's books, I've read both of them, and whoa, I mean, like, we ended up having like a couple-hour conversation after the first one. That was awesome. And this second one, my goodness, I mean, you can use this in demos, and it's got everything you need to know about water. And you can absolutely use this in demos for people to download maybe right after they even watched a demo or something. It's just very, very powerful. So, Lynn, thank you for everything that you're educating all of us with, and you are transforming lives, and it's a big deal. So we appreciate you. I'm sure other people have some comments and questions, but you're a cherishable soul. Thank you.
Well, you're so sweet. Thank you. You're such a cheerleader and encourager. You have no idea how much you inspire me. And I thank you for your friendship. I look forward to seeing you one day soon. And thank you for the words out there. You know, I really appreciate that more than you know, because I think sometimes people just, you know, look at people's efforts and say, oh, they're just, you know, doing another whatever. But really, you know, obviously the walking on water is for our faith, encouragement, and when you read Toilets, Taps, and Trash, you'll see it's very much the way I've always been accused of, quote unquote, selling. It's almost like I go through a process of elimination. You know, I don't just degrade everything in the line. I go through a process of elimination, and those of you in the business will see it coming. But, you know, those people that you're trying to fish or trying to catch, it's just a very logical approach to water. And I think that it'll reinforce. I know it helped me make a sale, or I'm closing one in right now, somebody that I already had. But when they read that, it just kind of put all the pieces together. So thank you for that. I do that in service for my own business, but also for you guys. So I appreciate that.
Oh, that's great. And do you have plans of that coming out in paperback form, or are you going to keep it as an ebook? Just curious.
No, it is available in paperback. It is.
Oh, it is already.
It really will.
Perfect.
And it'll come out. It'll almost like a booklet. You know, because it's about, I don't know, close to 60 pages, something like that. So when you do that front and back, it's not, you know, not going to see a spine on a book, but it'll come out like a booklet that you would use for your business. And yeah, it's available now.
Easy to carry, right? We can always have it in our purse.
Easy to carry. I'm going to be handing it out like peanuts. I know that. Yeah, it's easy to carry. It's a 6x9. It's just, you know, that's the size of it, and about, you know, I guess about 30 pages when you do front and back. But yeah, it's serving my business well. I hope it does for you guys as well. And I know that you guys see other tools that I've come out with, and really, when I developed those tools, it wasn't with you in mind. It was to build my business, and I was looking for a particular type of tool, so I developed that, and then ended up making it available to everybody else. You know, I want to kind of just touch on what Wade said, by the way, and that is that threading the message together. You know, that's part of what that living larger is about. You know, our whole life is all one. You know, we seem to, you know, separate it out. Over here's my family, over here's my God, over here's my business, and it really is all one. And so when I bring forth a message, believe me, God inspires the message. I had no clue what I was really going to say today. God just inspires it. It is all one. And so I hope that it inspires people in their business to look at fishing for men in a whole different way and in their faith. So thank you for that, guys.
Wow, you're clearly so aligned, and that's the thing, when we are in alignment where we do make it all one, and we are driven by God, I mean, you become unstoppable. It's when we don't have alignment and it's like one tire has a little less air than the other, we can't even move forward. So, thank you for being such a glowing example for all of us.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Excellent. By the way, how can we get a hold of your books? How can we get a hold of your stuff?
Well, the books are different. The books are completely managed on Amazon, so they're all in that Kindle format. So you would want to, if you just want to Google out there, since I can't give you a link specifically, it's too long, but you would just go to Amazon, put my name in, Lynn Gardner, Walking on Water. The book will come up there, and you should be able to see Toilets, Taps, and Trash beneath that. But either way, just go on Google and search for it. I'm not managing that and shipping orders and all that stuff from here. It's all being done on Amazon. So you go there. If there's any other tools out there that you're interested in, then that would be frontporchmarketing.biz. So there are a few things out there that are helpful for business, but that's where you go.
More than a few things. I shop on your front porch.
That's right. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. It's hard to forget that. The only part is the .biz, right? But it's frontporchmarketing.biz.
.biz, right. Excellent, guys. So, guys, listen, that's a great place to shop, by the way. So, got a couple more hands up. You bet. Thank you. Let's go to Miss Juanita. Good morning, Miss Juanita. How are you?
Good morning, Wade. I'm wonderful, thank you. It's still pretty dark here in the Northwest, but Lynn, the light is so shining within from your heart here. Lord, what a beautiful, beautiful message. You know, I was just talking about this to a couple of our prayer partners and some local people I know about just what you're talking about, going fishing and having going to the right place. For example, you know, you're not going to catch fish at the bowling alley. You know, for example, some of us single women, you know, we don't want to hang out at the bars to attract maybe, but go to a classy, you know, the location and have the right tools with us. I love the gone fishing sign. I know an individual who has that on his front door like 24/7.
Right,
so I thought,
exactly.
I need to get me a gone fishing sign. But I want to know, Lynn, tell me a little bit about the Living Larger movement and how to be a part of that.
Well, I'll be making some more announcements. It's going to roll out here in just a couple of weeks. And it really, again, I think it's just, you know, God brought that forth where people would comment on, I wish I could live a life like yours, you know, where everything's blended together. And people comment all the time, I wish I knew what God wanted me to do. Well, this is definitely for business people with a spiritual spin. In other words, you are one. You're one being, one soul, one body for now, and how to blend that all together. So I'll announce it in a couple of weeks. You'll definitely see it out there, and I'll send you an email. But I think it's going to be just life-changing for so many people that are having a hard time learning how to blend that all together. When you think about it as people of faith, you know, the majority of our waking hours are spent trying to make a living. You know, that we have to make a living. I don't apologize for that. I would like to pay my bills, right? So the majority of our waking hours are in the workplace. So how and why would we ever think that we negate that time? Okay, that's work. We don't talk about the Lord or anything else. How would we ever do that? We're supposed to be just like the disciples. They went out. They didn't quit fishing, by the way. They didn't walk away from their income and walk around with 10 cups. They still produced a living. Sometimes they got support. Most of the time they didn't. They were still making tents and fishing and doing what God would have them do. So anyway, that's really the basis of it, is learning how to incorporate all that all together, and you will see that being announced very shortly.
Okay. Yes, I love the analogy of the disciples when you talk about their characteristics. And another point there, as well as I've studied the Word of God, you know, those disciples didn't usually go out by themselves. They had a partner. And whether it was one other, whether it was male, well, usually a male, but they gathered many by the multiplications of others, the addition, and then the multiplication, because we can't multiply our business, our relations, or whatever without adding to them first.
That's exactly right. And iron sharpens iron, and two are better than one, right? But, you know, I think the biggest danger that all of us have, whether it's faith, the business, it really doesn't matter. We like to hang out where we're comfortable, you know? So we feel really good. For instance, let's take in our faith. You know, we feel really good to gather together in church and to rub elbows with our friends, our believer friends. You know, we like to go to socials. We like to do the Bible studies. But we don't like so much going out there and talking to people who aren't like us. But that's exactly what we're supposed to do, to be fishermen. And the same is true in our business. You know, we like hanging out with each other and talking to each other. Wonderful people. But we can't fish for new fish unless we break away a little bit and go out fishing. It's the same in every area of life.
Right. And just in closing, I know you're extremely passionate about the environment as well, and as well as I am. And, you know, one of the things that I'm praying for is to get entree into the pharmaceutical movement that's been going on in the mindset, especially of people. I mean, I've worked in a pharmacy. I've worked, you know, I'm allergic to them, I tell people. So just to get an awareness and teaching people that there's alternatives. You know, I'm not telling them to shut down the doctor's offices I'm just saying that there's choices that we can make. And a reminder to everyone, I was on the phone with Miss Deb Pruitt this morning, and she reminded me as she's ministering to her mama that, you know, we all are on assignment from the moment that we were conceived, even before we were in our mother's womb. God gave us an assignment, and thank you for fulfilling yours, Lynn, and encouraging me to do as well. So I sure love you and all that others speak.
Well, that's awesome. And she's right. We're here on assignment, and, there's also a danger in only doing the spiritual. I got to pay my bills. Okay. I think you people do too. So that's why the blending together is so important. But I want to touch on something you were saying, and then we'll go on to someone else. But, I think we find our way. Some people find the way to our business just for the business, and some people find their way because they've experienced something profound, when they changed their water. And we tend to focus just on that. Don't drink bottled water. It's bad. But if we just put on our business hat for a second and we look at the fact that the bottled water industry it's outselling sodas and everything right now, so they think they're going in the right direction. When you have that many people buying bottled water, those people know we have a problem. They just don't know that the bottled water is a problem. So really getting that entire environmental message is critical, I think, for all of us in business. It's not just about, you can't just go, picking apart everything they're drinking. They already know there's a problem, or they wouldn't be spending a fortune buying it in a bottle. So that's a good indicator of the opportunity that we have, guys. We haven't tipped the iceberg yet, and that's why. So sometimes it's got to adapt your thinking and maybe adapt your message for the kind of fish you're trying to catch. But we have big problems, and it's not just saying, oh, well, you'll be alkaline, or oh, you'll be this. It's also the environment, and it's understanding that, there's really, it is a process of elimination if we want to be healthy. So thank you for that, and I guess we should allow somebody else to pipe in if we have anybody, Wade.
Yep. Oh, yeah, we still have a few hands up, so that was awesome. Thank you so much. Let's go to Phil and Debbie Lovelace. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning, my Georgia peach.
Thank you so much, Lynn. Well, as everybody shared their thoughts, and one way, all of a sudden, my thought, what was I going to say? Oh, I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to ask her about that. And all of a sudden, I've drawn a blank. But your message is always so inspiring to help us. I knew this would be a very godly message going into the new year to give us a different perspective on the new year. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much for what you do for the field and for yourself. I'm looking forward to the book. I've been out to Amazon. I preferred books in print, so I just didn't see it. It just seemed like it was all on the digital version. So I'll go back and comb that a little bit more. But one thing I wanted to comment that I don't think anybody's touched on. We've known about how Jesus was the greatest fisherman networker in the world, and how he built his team of 12 disciples. But the one thing that always comes back to my mind is that we've heard this phrase many times over the years. You can go out and fish and feed a man for a day. We can go out and fish and help teach a man to fish so he can have fish for life. And then, of course, we can teach a man to fish. And so the world gets those fish.
That's right.
So
that's right.
I love the bring it all together. I love the gone fishing sign. I need to be much better at that. I'm not letting the distractions get away from me. And I've been working on Nakima's the presentation that I'll be doing with her little demo kit, and the part about the water being and the huge environmental impact of it is just it's all a big picture. And so we're talking about storytelling. That's part of our telling the story, is it what all these bottled waters are doing to the environment. So thank you so much for getting your book. I'm looking forward to using it.
Oh, you're so welcome. Well, thank you, because you guys you just always encourage me beyond anything, really. I mean, my long gone are those days where my ego is engaged. I built a fortune off my ego for many years, but that's all behind me. It's not, when you say these things, it encourages my soul. And so I thank you so much for that. You're always such an encourager to me. God bless you.
Thank you.
All right. Excellent. Hey, let's go to one of our new family members, Diane. Good morning, Miss Diane. How are you?
Good morning, Wade. Thank you, Lynn, so much. I wanted to let you know I did have my question answered because I couldn't find it on Amazon. And then I went to your book, and it led me to your taps, toilets, and trash. So thank you.
No, you're very welcome. Thank you for being on, and I hope it benefits you and your business.
It will, I'm sure. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Excellent. All right. Let's go to another new family member, Daniel. Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning. I'm a 1A. I've sold my first SD501, and
congratulations.
And I'm still kind of figuring out the the networking and the business aspect of this. And I just got signed up with the BizRunner app just last week, and so I'm able to do a consistently way in a database to follow up, okay, without having to do it manually, and that's helpful.
Excellent.
And what I found is that I am going to I've been going to business referral club meetings that meet weekly, where you stand up and you give your 60-second spotlight of what you do. And that's how I sold my first machine. And and then I've learned a lot from these other people that are in direct sales and other products, but I'm not getting into I'm not selling what they're selling, but I'm learning from them. So another thing I've learned is I'm going to start going to these networking events. And there's these people that are in sales here, and by the way, I'm in Oklahoma City. And I am the only one on my team. What I mean is I don't have anyone in my upline here in Oklahoma City. So I've kind of had to do things remotely, if you will, and learn how to do things, if you will. And so I go to these networking events, and I realize it's just about socializing, and I'm learning what they're doing, and it's about being an example person. And being kind to them, and I also find that if I can put a motivational quote on Facebook, at least once a week, something that inspires people, because I get feedback from people. They say, well, that makes me feel good, and so that's kind of the strategy that I'm wanting to use to grow this farther. And so so my momentum I'm moving kind of slow right now, but I feel that I'll gradually build up so I can start, having tables at wellness fairs and things like that.
Well, you're already a winner. Trust me, and congratulations on that sale because, it sounds like your mindset is above and beyond what so many of us got into the business thinking. You don't sell water ionizers. Mr. Oshiro sure to tell us every time he talks is you're not in the water ionizer sales business. We have 3 pillars of health, and we're all about changing lives and, inspiring people, encouraging people, loving people. And so when you approach your business that way, believe me, you're already a winner. You're going to be, it'll all just kind of happen. When we quit trying to shove an ionizer down somebody's throat, that's when the business goes from our head to our heart. And once it's in the heart, you're good to go. It's all about living life. It's just like Christ did. He was just out there living life, and so that's what you're already doing. You're going to do so well. Congratulations, and I wish you well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. Thank you, Daniel. Congratulations, buddy. That's one of our new family members, guys, and I love that. And so is Diane.
Awesome.
Both new. All right, let's go to our last caller of the day. It's going to be Michael. Hey, Michael. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Wade. Good morning, Miss Lynn.
Good morning.
Your books are just awesome as always, and I love both of them.
Thank you.
And the other thing that you said too is, most of my life, when you're doing things, you try and compartmentalize everything. Like you said, when you're doing family, it's family. When you're doing business, it's business. And then really coming to that realization that, hey, it's all combined. You can do it all at the same time. And if you're doing it all at the same time, you're really better off, and so is everyone around you.
That's right.
And that way you just are what you are, or you are who you are. And I really want to thank you for that, because it was your direction and the way that you talk about that really made a huge difference for me. And so I want to thank you for that and for everything that you do.
Oh, that's so awesome. Well, thank you again. You're another one that it just never fails to encourage me. I appreciate it. And I'm so glad that that's, that awareness is raised for you, because it is, with my kids, if they saw a woman of faith, I'm the same person no matter where I go and what I do. I don't just talk about my faith at home or talk about my faith at church or let kids go do whatever, and I'm one person on Sunday and a different person Saturday night. It's all one. And once you understand that it's all one, you live a much larger life, much larger. So thank you for that, Michael.
You're more than welcome.
Excellent. All right, man, what another great call, Lynn. Thank you so much for, like I said, for everything you bring to us. And let me tell you, honey, the pleasure is all ours, I promise you. And I know that you do this for you. You know, I mean, you do this to help others to reach out, and your faith is so true and shows so well. And so I just want to thank you for that side of you also. And thank you for bringing your bells today. I could hear them jingling.
Yeah, those Southern bells are going, right? Yeah, and I thank you because believe me, you know, when you're in service to the love of your life, you're happy to, you know, be on board anytime you need it. So it's my blessing. Believe me, I'm blessed beyond anything you guys could ever say, but you encourage me beyond words, and I'm just thankful that I bless you.
Amen. Awesome. All right. Let's take this back to Sam as we close out the call. And then, guys, I'm going to open it up for everybody to thank Lynn for being here today. And then we'll see you all tomorrow morning. Good, Sam.
Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. Awesome job. I love the saying, let go and let God. And you're truly an example of that. I know many people, and they let go and let God for just a little bit, and then they sort of get sidetracked. But you're definitely focused and changing many, many lives. I encourage everybody to use Lynn's tools and go to her. She's got a great piece of literature about pets that I use and several other items. I would check them out. And it's just awesome. And I would encourage every one of you to go to our site. Jeannie will update and send this message to everybody in your group and even friends and neighbors. This would be one of the classics that could be used to encourage and inspire thousands of people. I'm going to send it out. I've got 500 on one list. I'm sending it out too early this morning. So, you know, that's what it's all about, playing it forward. So God bless you. Thank you so much, Lynn. Back to you, Wade.
Thank you, Sam.